Swim paddles. Why do we use them? When do we use them? What are they good for? So first of all, right off the bat, I am not affiliated with like this swim paddle at all, but these are the ones that I highly recommend. They're the Finis Agility swim paddles. You can buy them online. They're something like $20 roughly. The reason that I like these is because they don't have any like rubber straps on them. So they're not going to, there's a couple reasons why we don't like rubber straps. One, your swim practice won't be interrupted because the strap broke. And two, these paddles can actually be used as like to help you improve your the quality of your swim stroke and being in the right position. So a couple things. If you're not using these paddles, other paddles will work and they'll be fine. The whole purpose, a big purpose of paddles is that what we're doing is increasing the surface area of the water that we are pulling when we catch and pull when we're using paddles. So typically when you're doing a swim stroke and you put your hand in, the first thing you want to do is you want to cock your fingers down a little bit, right? And your elbow is above your wrist and your wrist is above your fingertips. And then as you're pulling this way, you've got like surface area of your hand and your forearm that's pulling water. When we add paddles to the hand, then we're increasing the surface area of the water that we're pulling, which means that the water should feel heavier when you're pulling with paddles. So if it's not feeling heavier or you're not feeling more resistance, then what's likely happening is a really common error where you're dropping the elbow and pulling the hand back in a more horizontal position, right? So if I'm reaching and I have my paddles on and I tilt my fingertips down and the elbow is above the wrist and the fingertips here, as I'm pulling, this whole surface of the paddle should be facing the wall of the pool behind me, right? And I'm pulling and using this as surface area. And because of that, it should feel harder to swim with paddles because it should be more of a muscular event. Here's my cat who wants to say hi. It requires more muscle to pull with paddles. And so what the musculature you want to be using is like a posterior chain muscle. So it's going to be here underneath like this bottom part of your arm into your triceps, down into your lats here, using that muscle to pull. And the water should feel heavy. If it doesn't feel heavy, then likely what's happening is you're pulling and it's elbow first and you don't have much of the surface area on the water. So keep that in mind as you're pulling with paddles. We do it specifically because it's very good specific swim strength work, right? So what I notice when I'm using paddles is that the fitter I am, the stronger I am specifically for swimming. This doesn't mean like how many pull-ups can I do, but like how much have I been swimming and how good is my swim strength and endurance. The higher that is developed, the longer I can pull with paddles without feeling like I'm slowing way down or my stroke is just getting inefficient. So I would suggest that when you're trying to build swim specific strength, that you bring paddles in. And again, the reason that I really like these is because they use the water pressure to keep them on your hand. So these paddles specifically are going to encourage you to have your hand in the right position throughout the entire swim stroke. So when you put your hand in, your brain will just figure it out. Will learn, like, it feels awkward to do it. Like if you enter and your elbow is below your hand, that will feel really weird with these paddles. So you will be incentivized or encouraged to enter properly, to get fingertips down and pull, because that is what keeps the pressure of the water is what keeps the paddle on your hand. If you're dropping like this, you're going to feel that either the water just won't feel heavy because you're not pulling that much of it, or if you're really relaxed with it or you're dropping it, your hand can just slip right out of the paddle. And so your brain just starts to figure out like, oh, this is the position that I want my hand and arm to be in order to swim properly when you're using these. So I do think these can be good for technique. They're definitely good for strength. What I would recommend is starting with a small amount of adding paddles, and typically at the end of your swim session. What happens is for newer swimmers, or if you haven't developed a lot of swim endurance or strength yet, and you add paddles in the beginning, it can be that the muscular load that is required of you to swim with paddles leaves you too fatigued to swim well later. As your fitness develops, you can incorporate paddles pretty much throughout the practice at any time. What I like to do is typically like an endurance swim set of 3 times 300s or 3 200s, 3 400s, wherever you're at the end of a workout, just working on swim specific endurance and like strength endurance at the end of a workout. So again, just in summary, I love the paddles for swim specific strength work. These are my favorite ones. Anyone will work. But I really like these for the technique aspect of it, and make sure that you're using your lats. That's the muscle that you should be feeling doing the work when you're pulling with paddles. So if you have any questions, ask away.